drinks are available. Give me a nod and we'll go. Ooh. We are streaming, you can see it, but we're not seeing it. We're making the assumption that we are streaming even though we can't see it, and one of the officers is looking concerned at the back because it should be working. Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Licensing Subcommittee hearing of Friday the 7th of July at 2 p.m. I'll just do a few announcements, so I would ask you all to pay attention at this point, importantly, so that I can just make sure you all understand what we're doing today. We're also live on the web, so if you are of that inclination, you may want to go back later today and watch on YouTube, or there will be people watching this afternoon right now. There is some sort of details I'm supposed to read out. I know it off by heart, so just excuse me. We're not expanding a fire alarm this afternoon, so if you do hear the bells, there's green signs at the top of that door and also to the far right-hand corner. Please follow myself because I'll be leading the charge as we leave the building, and we assemble, as I always say, quite rightly, outside a licensed premises called the Slug and Lettuce for the fire test. The hearing today is a hearing, not a public meeting. It's a meeting held in public, but not a public meeting. So only those people that indicated and expressed a wish to speak can speak today. And I have a list of those people who will be speaking. I will just introduce the councillors who actually make the decisions. On my far right is Councillor John Morse. Next to him is Councillor Roy Chamdale, and I'm Councillor Dominic Gillam. I'm the chairman of this meeting. On my right-hand side is Luke Taylor. Luke Taylor is from Democratic Services, and we're making notes of that meeting, which will all be available. We have Roisin Hogan, who's my legal advisor, and she will also be assisting me to make sure that any decisions we make will be just. Obviously, we have Ginny Mukherjee from her licensing team, and we have Emily Mitchell and Kieran Sayan, who are the representatives here. Now, sir, I understand that you have a representative with you, and Mr. Panchow I know, so even though it hasn't got his name there, I'm guessing you're Mr. Panchow. I recognise you from yesterday. If you could just press the button and introduce yourselves. Once you've spoken, please press the button to make sure the machines are working. Thank you.
Your name?
My name is Rajinder Singh Khurana.
Mr. Panchal, do you want to introduce yourself to the internet?
I'm Mr. Panchal, the applicant's agent.
Okay, great stuff. We'll carry on then with the agenda. So, apologies for absence. Luke, any apologies?
No apologies.
Excellent. Declarations of interest coming before this meeting. Members, any interest? No interest whatsoever. Okay, can I just confirm that the business will be held in part one? We will not be having any part two items at this point, which means if members of the public come in, they are more than welcome. I can see there's people here. Hope you can hear us at the back. More than welcome to attend and witness the meeting taking part. They can't take part, but they can witness it. And I can also confirm that there'll be no matters held in advance or urgent today? No. Thank you for that, Luke. So we move on now to agenda item number 5, which is an application for a review of the premises licence, Hooja Superstore. But before we do that, can I just confirm that everyone has a copy of the addendum? This is an adjustment to the published agenda. Post the date of the publication, there were some sort of differences that we needed to add to that agenda. Have you all got a copy of the addendum, please? And you will also note in that addendum that the order of proceedings has been changed because the applicant is not actually a licence holder. The applicants are sitting on my right-hand side. Okay, Jeannie, away you go.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon to all of you. I'll briefly talk you through today's hearing relating to the licensing review of an off-license trading as a Hooja Superstore. The premises is located in Redmead Road in Hayes. It has been licensed since 2006. Mr. Rajinder Singh Khurana, who is here today with us, is the director and also the DPS of the premises. This review is led by Trading Standards, a responsible authority under the Licensing Act, and is represented by Kieran Sayan. And the review is supported by Metropolitan Police, another responsible authority under the Act, and is represented by Emily Mitchell. So on 7th of December 2016, a joint operation was carried out which led to the discovery of a substantial amount of non-duty paid and counterfeit goods from the premises. The goods included cigarettes, several tobacco products, and DVDs. In addition to that, an illegal worker was found at the premises at the time, was later taken to police custody. Following this, the Trading Standards submitted a review of the premises license on 19th of May 2017, seeking a revocation on the grounds of prevention of crime and disorder. However, if the committee are not minded to revoke the license, then the Trading Standards have alternatively recommended a suspension of the premises license with additional conditions added onto it. The review is in Appendix A, that's pages 9 to 24 of the report. As mentioned earlier, the Metropolitan Police too have supported this review and have submitted their representation. On their representation, there's a reference to another joint visit made to the premises on 19th of May 2017 when the DPS was absent from the premises and a different person was found behind the counter who identified himself as Captain Singh. On interrogation, the Metropolitan Police concluded that he too was in the country illegally. Emily can elaborate on that later. I made an unannounced compliance visit to the shop on 1st of June 2017. Mr. Khurana, the DPS, was absent this time as well, and the person behind the counter did not have any knowledge of the licensing issues relating to the shop. I left and I went back to the premises again on 30th of June 2017, and this time Mr. Khurana was present at the premises. He was cooperative with me and was apologetic about what has happened. I took some photographs of the inside of the shop while I was there, which I've included in the addendum, and I'll quickly run you through that now. Okay, so on the addendum, items 1, 2, and 3, we have a few corrections to start with. Item 1 is the order of proceedings, where the applicant here is the Trading Standards. Item 2, if you, in paragraph 7.1 of page 5 of the report, the paragraph 7.1 has...
There's no need to read the full addendum
Okay.
out. We've noted, and I know my council colleagues have read the addendum, so there's no need to read it out piece by piece.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll move on to item number 4, that has the revised officer's recommendation appended as Appendix H on page 4 of the addendum. There is no non-compliance noted between 7th of December last year and 19th of May this year, mainly because we did not do any follow-up visits, and so I have recommended a suspension of the premises license not exceeding 3 months to give the DPS ample time to organize himself. I've also recommended conditions which I think should go on the premises license, as these are relevant, necessary, and proportionate for the premises in question. In addition to this, I have further recommended that the conditions imposed by Trading Standards should also be added to the Annex 3 of the premises license. Moving on to item number 5, which is Appendix I, between pages 5 and 13 of the addendum, you'll see the photos of some illicit products found at the premises. Now, these are a mix of counterfeit and non-duty paid products, which were seized by Trading Standards during their raid on 7th of December 2016. Now, the Act does not clearly define smuggled, pirated, or unlicensed, but after checking with Trading Standards, they have confirmed that the counterfeit tobacco is also non-duty paid and can be classed as smuggled. As for the counterfeit DVDs, they too can be classed under pirated or unlicensed films. Item number 6 has all the relevant photos of the shop which I took during my visit to the premises on 30th of June 2017. I have numbered those serially and have explained what each one is. And item number 7 is on the refusals book and the authorizations book, which were not there at the premises at the time. I was informed that it was with Mr. Panchal for the purposes of this hearing. I would now invite the committee to determine the application to ensure that the promotion of the crime prevention objective is upheld with respect to this application for review. Thank you.
Okay, Jeannie, thank you very much for that presentation. Before we hear from the actual applicant, just a couple of points to clarify, if you would, please. You said there's been no non-compliance, and that's from the 7th of the 12th until the 19th of the 5th, because on the 19th of the 5th you entered the building and you said that there was someone who wasn't aware of the licensing objectives, and then again on the 1st of the 6th there was someone who wasn't aware. Is that correct?
That's right, Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Your photographs as well, I wonder if you'd be kind actually to talk us through some of them, because you do mention in your photograph pack drug paraphernalia. I'm struggling to see the drug paraphernalia. I know I recognise grinders, but I can't really see them in that picture unless is it the one hanging, if members look to Appendix J, is it photo 3, photos of drug on display? Yeah, I know, but the next picture, sorry, is much clearer. That item there, I believe, is a grinder. Is it the item next to the word cigarettes? Is that a grinder in a pack? In the middle of the photograph? Because the top of the photograph says photos of... Emily?
Good afternoon, Councillor. I might be able to add a bit of light on these where the drugs paraphernalia are, because I've been in the shop and I can...
Okay, well, we'll come to it when you may raise it.
Thank you.
It's just because it was presented as evidence from my licensing team, I wanted to hear from her. So, Ginny, you've highlighted that there's drugs paraphernalia in those photographs. Can you point to members where they can see them in the photographs? Because I cannot, even then when I use an iPad and make it very large, I still can't see the paraphernalia.
Yes, Chairman. So, if the members please, if you see the shelf adjacent to the one where the...
Do you want to pick it up and point it towards my members so that my members can see, and we'll clarify.
So, these are the drugs paraphernalias. This is the stack of formula milk products.
All right, so next to the Aptamil, and then you've got Nurofen, and then you've got one light, and then you've got some lighters, you've got gas fluid. Oh, I can see a bong. That's right, at the very top.
And there
are... technical term for a smoking device.
It's bright green in colour.
Right. Yeah, the bright green with the lead coming off it.
Yes, and I think there are sealed packages of the device next to it.
Thank you very much. It's just that because you presented that, I wanted it clear, and I couldn't really see it on that. Maybe next time we have some sort of arrows on the photos or something would be great to direct our view.
I'll keep that in mind.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you for your presentation. So now we move over to the applicant. Kieran, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Kieran. I'm representing Trading Standards Service today. The application to review has been submitted by the Trading Standards Service in support of the licensing objective, the prevention of crime and disorder. The application for review by Trading Standards is detailed in Appendix A within the documentation pack, and I intend to summarise the main points detailed in the application, and I'll try not to repeat what Ginny's already said. So, on the 7th of December 2016, following receipt of complaints, an Intel-led multi-agency operation was planned in the borough. The op was led by Trading Standards, and the other agencies involved were the Met Police, a brand representative from the tobacco industry, and a canine sniffer dog plus handler. The purposes of these visits was to conduct inspections at premises where Intel suggested illicit sales of goods were being made. One of the premises that was visited on the day was the shop trading as a Hoojah's Superstore on Redmead Road, Hayes. At the time of visit, there was only one man present behind the counter who identified himself as Mohammed Iqbal. He initially stated that he could not speak English and that the owner was not present. On being informed of the reason of our visit, he then called the owner, Mr. Khurana. PC Mitchell and PC Bates continued speaking with Mr. Iqbal, and on identifying him as an illegal immigrant, he was arrested and removed from the premises. PC Mitchell will speak further on this matter. Trading Standards continued with the visit to inspect the store, and tobacco concealments were found behind the counter and also in the stockroom. Also found in the stockroom were boxes of counterfeit Indian cinema Bollywood DVDs. Later on, after the only person serving in the shop had been removed, Mr. Rajinder Singh Khurana arrived at the premises. He confirmed to us his status as the director of Guru Kirpa Traders Limited, which trades as a Hoojah Superstore, and he is also the DPS for that store. Mr. Corona was informed of our findings, and he responded by saying that a Polish man had sold the tobacco to him. He went on to say that he had never done this before, and this was his first time. The total amounts of goods that were seized during the visit are detailed on page 14 of the documentation pack. To summarise, there were 4,565 cigarettes, there were 3,050 grams of hand-rolling tobacco, there was 2,589 grams of chewing tobacco, and there were approximately 450 DVDs that were seized at the time of visit. Samples of the items that were seized were sent to the respective brand holders, and confirmations were received as to whether they were counterfeit or non-duty paid. Again, on page 14 and 15, you'll find a status of the tobacco. So the cigarettes were all confirmed as being counterfeit. The hand-rolling tobacco was confirmed as being counterfeit. The chewing tobacco was found as being non-duty paid. And the Indian DVDs were confirmed as counterfeit. On the 19th of May 2017, the store was revisited by Trading Standards and police to issue review paperwork. Again, on this visit, Mr. Corona was not present. There was a man behind the till who, on our entry, was standing behind the till but immediately removed himself from that position and came to stand in front of the till, indicating that he was just a customer. He identified himself initially as Captain Singh. He was then processed by the police, and again, PC Mitchell will speak to that. Later on, Mr. Corona arrived at the store. There was a further visit done on the 21st of June, and this was a police-led visit with immigration and customs. Trading Standards were also present. No Trading Standards issues were identified at this time. Again, Mr. Corona was not present. PC Mitchell, again, will provide more detail about that because that was a visit led by herself. In closing, I would like to state, on each of the 3 occasions that the premises has been visited, Mr. Corona has not been present at the shop. He's arrived only when he's called by the person that has been left in control of the shop. And on 2 of the 3 occasions that the person in charge of the shop has been identified as an illegal worker. Mr. Corona had significant quantities of illicit goods on his premises. He claimed that he had never done it before, and this was his first time. The Trading Standards Service is of the opinion that the conduct of Mr. Corona demonstrates a flagrant disregard of the law, which raises questions as to whether the business is being managed in accordance with the licensing objectives. Further, I would quote the Section 182 Guidance 11.27, which you can refer to on page 6 and 7 of the report of the document pack, which states that there is certain criminal activity that may arise in connection with licensed premises which should be treated particularly seriously. These are the use of the licensed premises in, and it mentions quite a few bullet points of the different types of activities, but the ones I would like to point out that are specific to this are for the invasion of copyright in respect of pirated or unlicensed films, for knowingly employing a person who is unlawful in the UK, and for the sale or storage of smuggled tobacco and alcohol. And again, to repeat what Ginny has already said, smuggled tobacco refers to both counterfeit and non-duty paid tobacco. So in closing, I would like to invite the committee to consider the Trading Standards Service recommendation that the licence be revoked. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just before we go to Emily's representation, can you just tip, Kieran, you mentioned 3 kilos of hand-rolling tobacco, 3,000 grams, 3 kilos of hand-rolled tobacco. That's quite, and also 4,600 cigarettes. What was the retail value of those, please?
When these items are sold as, when they're illicit goods, they're sold for about £4 or £5. It varies of how good a counterfeit is.
I need a total figure. So there's a little bit of work for you to do while
I can calculate that
Emily,
while
if you could please. I think it is relevant to see the size of the seizure, because this is quite a large seizure, I believe.
Yeah.
I'd like to know the retail figure, if it is possible, of what we're talking about today. Thank you. Emily?
Good afternoon. I may well be repeating what has already been said, but I need to go through my information chronologically. And on the 7th of December, police assisted trading standards in the joint operation to Ahuja's premises. On this occasion, there was a male serving behind the counter. He was the only person in the open premises prior to our visit. His name was Mr. Mohammed Iqbal, and his date of birth was the 6th of the 10th, 1968. Checks were done by police through immigration, which showed this male had entered the UK on the 29th of June 2009, and on the 30th of June was arrested for entering the UK without leave. On the 7th of the 12th, this male was further arrested by us for being an illegal overstayer. He was taken to Polo Park and his detention was authorised. I have a result from immigration, and they've actually updated a few bits which stated he actually came into the country on a valid visa on the 14th of the 10th, 2007. With this visa, he was not entitled to work. He overstayed his visa on the 30th of June 2009 and was encountered by immigration, who served him with papers confirming he was illegally in the UK as an overstayer. Immigration did not have a travel document for him, so he went on and was given a temporary release while they tried to obtain the document. He failed to comply with this process and was found illegally working in December 2016. He subsequently obtained his own travel document and returned to Pakistan on the 15th of February 2017. He was illegally in the UK since the 14th of October 2007 and was never entitled to work in the UK. We transported Mr. Iqbal to Polo Park. He was not able to speak much English during our visit and our time at the shop, but on arrival to the custody suite, his English improved greatly. He told the arresting officer that he had been working at Ahuja's for a number of weeks and that he starts work at 8 in the morning and finishes at 6 at night. He confirmed he was paid £300 cash per week. We were not able to view the CCTV for this. On each of the 3 occasions, actually, when we've gone to the store and asked for CCTV, the store has been unable to provide any CCTV, which is a failure against the crime and disorder section within their premises licence conditions. I'd just like to highlight as well, there seems to be a bit of confusion. In April 2017, some new legislation came into play in regards of immigration powers. These actually are powers that give immigration officers themselves, in dealing with offences within licensed premises, greater powers. They have the power to enter certain premises, they have closure powers now, and they have fines of up to £20,000 which they can impose on premises found to be employing illegal immigrants. And that is what the new legislation states. It has been and continues to be illegal to employ an individual who is subject to an immigration control and who has not been granted leave to enter or remain in the UK, or who does not have permission to work in the UK. Request for documents applies to all employees then and now. We were later made aware by trading standards that also find on the premises of Ahuja's were the counterfeit items. Police were not present during the search by trading standards, so we don't have any evidence to add to the file for that. On the 19th of May 2017, again police attended with trading standards with the aim of assisting trading standards to serve review papers. On this visit, a male rushed from behind the counter and pretended not to be working in the premises. He gave a false name of Captain Singh. There was another man in the shop. He obviously just bought items. He had his bag with him, but denied having been served by this man, so we asked him to leave the items at the shop. Checks were done on Captain Singh through immigration. He gave several different names thereafter, and basically they had no record of him, which to immigration suggests that he had entered the country illegally and was to be arrested. Unfortunately, on this occasion, I had to de-arrest the man because immigration informed us at that time on the phone that they could not deal with him and that they would deal with it at a later time. It was not something they could do then and there. So I did de-arrest the male. What we did realise was that if he wasn't there working in the shop, as he's saying, then absolutely nobody was responsible for the shop. It was open, there was alcohol there. So a Section 19 closure notice was served until the DPS was able to turn up and look after his own goods. CCTV not provided again. On the 21st of June 2016, I arranged joint visits with Immigration Trading Standards and HMRC. We attended a Hooja store. I can confirm nothing was found on this occasion, and all checks were done. Along with the illicit items seized by Trading Standards and the fact that on 2 occasions illegal workers were running the shop, and if they weren't, the shop was unattended, I would also like to support Trading Standards in asking for a full revocation of the premises licence on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to clarify, you said it was first of all, just trying to get these names right. There was a Mr. Iqbal the first time and Mohammed Iqbal, and it turns out that he was an illegal immigrant into the country and was working at the shop. Yes?
He was working at the shop.
And then a gentleman who went by the name of Captain Singh was either working at the shop, and if he wasn't, then the shop was unattended.
It was unattended if he wasn't.
Which again would be a breach as well.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Thanks very much indeed at this point. Thank you. Okay. We now move on. I'm guessing we've heard from most of the responsible authorities. There's no other people here from that responsible authorities. So we'll move on to the licence holder, or I guess Mr. Panchal, are you speaking on behalf of Mr. Singh? Mr. Singh, you're also willing to take part. If you want to at any point speak, you're more than welcome to. Okay, sir? And thank you.
Yeah, Chairman, I am not going to be disputing today of whatever the responsible authorities are saying at the moment. I'm just going to be asking you to say that Mr. Khurana today will put some light on what happened at the premises during the visits of the responsible authorities, and also will put some light on the products that were seized. So as you would like to know how we bought it or where he bought it from. And I would like to leave him to discuss about that. In my submission, I would say that since, as you heard, although on the 19th May, I would leave that out because Mr. Khurana will explain why the shop was left open. But during the period when everything happened in December, when the raids were happened in December, since then till today, as you heard from the licensing officer, that the licensing objectives have been promoted and no illegal stuff is found from the shop from December onwards till today. No illegal tobacco that has been found from the shop. I can also confirm that apart from I did mention to you that apart from 19th May, what happened, which Mr. Khurana is going to explain rather than me.
Mr. Panchal, we heard from our licensing officer that on the 1st of the 6th as well, they attended the property and the people there couldn't adhere to the licensing objectives or weren't aware of the licensing regulations. Just to clarify, okay?
Yeah,
not about the sales, but on the 1st of June, we heard from our licensing team they visited and the people behind the counter weren't aware of the licensing objectives.
Yeah,
correct?
Yes, correct, Chairman.
Okay, that's fine. Because what you were saying that there was this picture from December onwards, there hadn't been a problem, and I don't accept that because we've heard already from officers that's not the case.
Yeah, Chairman, I'm saying from December onwards there were no counterfeit tobacco or counterfeit goods found from the shop. About the 19th May, when Mr. Khurana wasn't present, on 21st May when Khurana was not the 19th. I do apologize. It's 21st of June. Sorry. It was 19th of May. Sorry, beg your pardon, Chairman, you confused me. It's 19th of May when the responsible authorities went to give the documents and Mr. Khurana wasn't present. Mr. Khurana would explain that. But my point of view at the moment, Chairman, is that Mr. Khurana is now, since December, whatever happened, which he's going to explain how he bought it or whatever, is trying to promote the 4 licensing objectives and trying to make sure that in future it does not happen at the premises. Chairman. So I'm going to hand over to Mr. Khurana to explain of questions you have about the counterfeit stuff that was found at the premises. About the counterfeit goods and that. Where did you buy it from and during the visit?
Mr. Panchal, I'm sure you've briefed your client already. We want representations at this point. We will have, if you actually followed the order of proceedings, you'll see beyond this, we'll have a discussion. If he has a presentation, he can please read it out. But I don't want you to brief him right away and then we hear what you're telling him to say.
Okay, Chairman.
Press your button.
Sorry, Chairman, I would not like to say anything further. If there are any
Thank you.
questions, we are very
I
happy to.
appreciate that. That's much better. Okay, so we've heard from the applicant, the services of the council. We've heard also from the Metropolitan Police and the licensing team. We've heard from the licence holder. We now move to the discussion, which will be led by ourselves. It will come through the chair. We will have some points. I'm sure my council colleagues will have some questions to ask all parties here. And Kieran, you're going to tell me a price, and you've done the homework and added it up, haven't you? So just, can you tell me that now? How much? What's the retail value?
When it comes to illicit goods, there's not a specific price, but I'm going on the basis of the lower level that I've been told by brand representatives when I've queried this. So with regards to cigarettes, illicit cigarettes tend to go for about £5 a pack, and each pack has about 20 in them. So on the basis of the quantity we've got, 228 packs of 20 at about £5 comes to 1,140. Hand rolling tobacco, 3,050 grams, again divided into 50 gram packs. That's 61 packs of 50 grams times £8 gives you £488. And then the chewing tobacco is a lot harder to price, but I've reduced the amount to packs of about 10 grams, and they go for approximately about 50p. They go quite cheaply, and I made that value of £130. So this is, I've sort of erred at the lower end rather than the higher end, so as to not over account. I've come to a figure of £1,758. And then when we look at the DVDs, there was approximately 450 counterfeit DVDs. DVDs of that nature and material tend to go quite cheaply for about £1, so I'm giving that an approximate estimate of about £450.
So even at black market prices, we're talking of over £2,000?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
good to know that at this point. Thank you, Rashidi. Members, we're now at we're at the point where you may want to ask questions. I'm just going to ask a few of... Mr. Pancho, you did say that your applicant would like to answer a few questions, so I'm sure we can ask him. Mr. Karana, sorry, Mr. Karana, or Singh Karana or Mr. Karana? Mr. Karana. Mr. Karana, can you explain, we've heard from officers of the council and Metropolitan Police Service on many visits they've attended. You haven't been there, and I understand the DPS doesn't have to be there. You can be a DPS of many stores at the same time. That's not an issue. But there was no one there who actually understood the licensing requirements. Now, as a DPS, you understand that anyone that you make in charge of a shop has to be responsible.
That time I think they knows everything, but
so which time? Which one of the 4 times you're referring to?
Which time we have to answer I don't want to confuse this first time or second time or...
All of them. So I want to know how you left the premises with as evidenced by these responsible authorities, with people not available to adhere to the licence objectives.
If you go to first time, so we would like to tell you because Muhammad Iqbal, he was recommended by some friends, and he said he was everything is fine. So I asked the paper documents, and he says just I'm bringing tomorrow day after. It's 2 weeks. He left. 2 weeks left, and then this happened, and the same day evening he came back and he said, I asked him what happened, what's wrong with you, and why they took. They says everything is fine, and the police officers, they asked me some questions and left, relieve me. I say, okay, now it's 2 weeks gone, like 1.5 weeks gone, so just I need paperwork now. So he said, okay, tomorrow I will bring. If I said, if tomorrow not, I will not take you anymore in the premises. So he not come back with the paperwork. So it means he haven't got the paperwork. So that's my...
Sorry, so he wasn't going to come, you weren't going to let him back into the store, but yeah. He was in the store when the store was raided?
Yes.
How come, if you weren't going to let him back in the store? How come he was...
No, I'm talking about the day after this happened, next day.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, my English is...
The day before you were raided, you gave him a warning, and then you were raided the next day. Is that what you're saying?
No. After this happened, he came back evening. This happened is a morning time in the shop, in the premises, and he came back in the evening.
Okay, so Mr. Iqbal, and this is the guy you were paying £300 cash a week. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cash. And is that correct process?
I know it's not correct process, but it's
Sorry,
not long.
you know it's not the correct process. Okay.
But it's not a long time, just for 2 weeks he is working for me as
But
a training,
sorry,
as I'm training.
Mr. Green, you just said you know it's not the correct process. You were aware you shouldn't be doing that.
I mean, if it's a long time, like year or 6 year or 6 months.
I will push the point. You are aware you shouldn't be doing it.
All right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you chose to do it. Okay. Now, regarding the actual contraband that we're discussing, these items, we've heard a statement today read out by Kieran that you gave at the time of the raid that this was the first time you ever purchased it, and it was a Polish gentleman. Is it a white? Was he in a white van by any chance?
I didn't see the van.
You didn't see the van. It's just that because members of this committee, and I'm sure the police, have heard this very same line at every time. And I know Mr. Panchow has been here where members have changed it to somewhat more realistic. Are you going to stay with that line that you've never purchased contraband before? This was just your one and only time of purchasing contraband? Is that what you're going to say to me?
Just be honest, this is the first time because I did it before.
Right, you're being honest and say it was your first time. How much of it did you buy? Because we've just heard the value of this stuff.
Okay. I just paid, I don't remember, because 6 months or 7 months I didn't do this again. I paid 1,100 something to this gentleman, to this stuff.
To buy what?
To buy this stuff. He said it's a little bit cheaper and you can sell it and make a good profit. So
and again, you are the DPS for this building and you were aware this was illegal? Yes or no? Were you aware?
Aware.
Okay, thank you. That's good. That's honest.
But
I'm trying to get you to be honest. You were aware that it was illegal.
I had a problem as well. I just want to explain because he said to me, "You can sell it is duty free." He not said to me he's a fake. If I know about this, I didn't do.
Sorry, you've been trained. You're a DPS. You're aware about paying duty on every item that you sell in this country, correct?
I apologize for this. I did mistake.
Just to clarify, your off license is not airside at Heathrow, is it?
Sorry.
Well, you just said it's off duty. No.
No.
So you are aware. You are a DPS. You're a designated premises supervisor. You are aware of the law.
Okay.
Yes. And just because a man in a van turns up and says it's okay to buy it, you then buy it and try to put the public at risk. This is illegal items. There is serious health issues with this stuff that you were choosing to sell to people.
I did mistake. I apologize for this. I'd never do again in my life. I can say.
Can you also tell me about the other times that the people attended? We've heard already that there's a gentleman called Captain Singh. Is he a member of your staff? Captain Singh?
No.
So who was running the shop when our officers came in?
That time I said, you don't sell anything, just
No, you
emergency.
didn't. Who was running the shop when the officers attended and Captain Singh was there? Who was actually working in the shop?
That time no one working because I'm not there.
No one was in the shop?
No one in the shop.
And it was open?
It's open.
Is this a normal practice, sir?
To
have no one working in the shop?
Sorry, Chairman, I could do...
Mr. Pancho, yeah, you might better help me out because I don't understand how off license.
So that's what
your shop was open and there was no member of staff in it. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
You're telling me that? In that particular incident, I'd like to ask him to explain why the shop.
Yeah, that's what I'm. I just called my sister-in-law in the hospital, admitted, and I provide the paperwork as well. She's admitted, and she called me, and I went to the hospital for half an hour or 20 minutes. I just asked to the gentleman, please, just look after my shop.
So you didn't lock the door, you left the doors open and left it with Mr. Singh in charge?
Mr. Singh and Mr. Michael DeCosta. Okay. There is two persons.
Michael DeCosta?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Sorry, so this is on the 19th of the 5th, Mr. Singh and Michael DeCosta in the shop. And what licensing training have you given those two gentlemen? You're the DPS.
Mm-hmm.
What licensing training have you given those two people? Because you've deemed it safe for them to adhere to the 4 licensing objectives.
Right.
So what training have you given as the DPS of that property to them?
No, if they are selling anything, if they are doing business or do some alcohol, then I have to tell them everything. But they just look after and my shop. I just coming back, so I didn't give anything to them.
No, you gave them no training whatsoever.
No,
because you gave them no training. Okay, thank you. Councillor Morse, please.
You've got in front of me a little bit. My question, Mr. Carano, is what instructions do you give when you're not present? Because somebody's actually running your licence. So, I'm hoping that you give them some reasonable instructions what to do.
Can you explain in our language, please, if
When
you don't mind?
So, Chairman, I'm going to explain to him what the question is.
I have a little bit problem with English, so if you don't mind. Okay.
He's asking, when you're employing somebody, do you give him training for, or what training do you give him when you employ somebody at the shop? Staff.
The staff, okay. The staff, you have 10 the 4 objective and that. The licensing for objective to these kind of things, so don't sell alcohol and cigarettes and everything, tobaccos under 18 or child or any medicine, just no noise with the people, no good good behavior with the customers all the time with the peoples. If any happens, so just keep calm, these kind of stuff, and no like CCTV cameras already is there working, and
Councillor Morse.
So every time you hand over, you give those instructions here. I mean, you do. You are saying you give some instructions. That's what I'm trying to. You may not be completely aware of what you're supposed to be doing, but I'm trying to establish that you actually have made some effort to instruct people who are they're responsible for your license.
Yeah, do you give the instructions every time you?
yes, yes.
Councillor Chandler.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Carano, you regards Mr. Iqbal. Do you know what the minimum wage is in this country?
Yes, sir.
Could you enlighten us with it?
£7.50.
£7.50. So that was his April. So how was Mr. Iqbal being paid £300 a week then? How many hours did he work?
Sometimes
He doesn't actually say how many days he's worked. He just says he's worked for 10 hours a day.
No, 6 days works, and sometime not all the days. Like sometime I need to call him, and I said he is not permanent. He just came a week ago, and just he is on training purpose. So I just decide them to. Okay, so you are my staff.
Is this payment recorded anywhere?
No.
On your books, do you give it to your accountant or something that you actually got somebody training and these payments are being made?
That's maybe I write normally a day when we pay out everything, so we have written in the day out.
So you have a written record?
Written in the day.
Okay. And the obvious question is, sorry, Chairman. Is that okay? Yeah. Regards, you knew this stuff that you was buying was contrary to the license objective, so why did you buy it? I mean, it seems a very sort of simple question. You've got a rather large shop. I mean, what do you turn over a week?
To be honest, because of I don't know I could say the name of the chain stores or not.
Sorry, I've just added in questions about turnover aren't relevant to the review today. If you could keep questions.
Just the connection was the value of the goods that he was actually buying in terms to his turnover.
Yeah, well, we can't discuss it.
So the question is, why did you buy it?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. They can take the name of the chain stores or not. Is that legal? Asda's, because of Asda. Yeah, okay. The Asda's near to me come and have very affected in my competitor in my shop business. So in New Year time, be honest, I'm telling you everything is truth. I'm very generous and very honest person. I don't want to lie. And the officers when they came.
Hold on a second.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry. We can't accept your claim that because Asda has opened up, you've now broken the law. I'm sorry. They sell all of their items within the law, all duty paid. I would not accept that because they're undercutting you, you chose to break the law. Okay?
No,
I'm
not.
sorry.
Yes.
You have to remove that because we can't then name a
That's what I
major
asked
retailer
before, yeah,
that
that's
adheres to the law and say, well, they're doing it cheaper than you, sir. It's called, it's business. But theirs is a legal business where you were carrying out illegal activities, which you've accepted, admitted that you've done them. We're trying to find out what made you choose to break the law. The whole idea that someone selling it cheaper legally made you choose to break the law. Is that what you're really saying?
No, I'm not trying to say like this. I'm competition with the ASDA, or ASDA is not good for me, this and that. The problem is just the ASDA came and they killed my business, and just a man came and I'm just that time I was a little bit greedy, and he says everyone is selling, just you're making a little bit profit, and I'm survived the business. I said it's a New Year time, so when I know after the officers this is not good, you can't sell it. After that, be honest, I never done this, and I never bought again, and now I'm just surviving my business legally and clearly.
I get you. You say you only ever done it the once, sir. Can we just talk about the quantities? Can you turn to page 14 of your pack, Mr. Karuni? Page 14 of the pack. Have you got the quantities there?
Yep.
Now, can you be very honest with us all, please, and tell me how much of each item you actually bought from this gentleman? Because I can see that the stock seized was 100 Winston. Does that mean you sold how many packs? Price that. How many of these items did you buy, sir?
These cigarettes, I bought totally 25 packs.
Or 25 sleeves?
I'm not
200,
buying
25 200s?
25 for packs in the box he just gave me.
So you bought 5,000, that's what you're saying to me?
If I calculate
I can do the math, sorry.
Yeah.
You're saying you bought 5,000?
If it's 20 into 25.
And that was
so
mixed?
Yes, 5,000.
5,000 mixed or 5,000 of each brand?
No, it's mixed in the box he gave me.
Okay. So you sold some, and but you told me you bought it 6 months before?
No, I just bought it 1 month, less than 1 month.
So you bought it in November?
Yes, near to New Year, in November and December that happens.
Okay, because earlier on I thought you said you bought it 6 months prior to the guy coming.
No, sir, never.
No? We'll check that. We'll check it anyway. We have it anyway.
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Responsible authorities, do you have any points or questions you have for each other? Anything you want to highlight at this point? It may have been something you've heard. Kieran, you've got your hand in the air.
I just wanted to make the point, Mr. Krana, of his own admission, has just said that he paid £1,100 for the goods. Is that specific to the tobacco? That's not including the DVDs. That's specific to the tobacco.
About the DVDs, I have to clear. I want to clear like the DVDs. I'm not doing the business of DVDs, and I'm not bought from anyone, and I'm not selling anyone. The DVD,
sorry, they're in your property. They're in your store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they are part of the review process, as the law stipulates in 2711 of the Section 182 guidance. It clearly mentions about this type of activity, sir. If it goes on in your premises, then it's down to you. You are the DPS.
Chairman,
you can't say you're not responsible for them, sir.
Chairman, I'd like to dispute that, because all he's trying to explain to you at the present moment is, you asked what price this goods that he's bought, was it the tobacco only, and he's confirmed that the price that he paid for was the tobacco. And when the question came in from Kieran about the DVD, he's explaining to he's explaining to Kieran that DVD he has never bought it. That DVD that he found
he said he doesn't buy it. He never bought it. Doesn't sell it.
He never bought it.
It's on the premises, Mr. Planchow.
That's what
the assumption we would make that it's for retail.
Yeah, assumption we agree that you're making on retail, that it was in his possession. But what he's trying to explain to you that he never bought those DVDs. When he bought the shop, those DVDs came with the shop. That's what he's explaining to you, Chairman. So he never bought those DVDs. The DVDs that was found on his premises was passed on to him when he bought the shop.
When did you buy the shop?
2015.
2015.
And be honest, I don't remember that box is in the store. Just find the officer, then I recommend.
So you've had the shop for 2 years. And there's a box of illicit goods in your premises, and you just left it there.
Lots of boxes in the storeroom. Sometime date short dated or off dated. We put in the.
This is not an out-of-date product, sir.
I'm just explain examples. Lots of things which one we put on the top of the shelf in the storeroom. So the DVDs also will there. Be honest, I never do the business of the DVDs. This one I do. I just apologize. I did this, but I never do this again in my life. But DVDs, be honest, I never sell and I never bought from someone.
Can I just get clarification? We've heard from officers of the licensing team and the police and training standards. How many times have you visited where not only has Mr. Singh not been there, but not someone responsible enough to understand and adhere to the licensing objectives?
I visited on 3 occasions.
Yeah.
And first occasion on the 7th of December, the individual claimed not to speak English. Okay. And once being questioned by the police, his English knowledge improved. And he was identified as an illegal, arrested and taken away. Second visit we did was on the 19th of May to do a review. Yeah. The individual behind the till, Captain Singh, could speak English, but claimed not to have anything to do with the shop and said he was a customer. Okay. And then the other person that was also present at the time said he was a customer. So that customer left. And the third occasion, the person that was present on the 21st of June was able to speak with us, and he spoke with and identified himself with PC Mitchell.
Sorry. And were they aware of the licensing objectives and the concerns we had?
We didn't go into that. I didn't go into that. That would have been dealt with by PC Mitchell.
Yeah, exactly the same as Kieran on the 3 occasions that we visited. On the second occasion with Captain Singh, the other gentleman had 2 bags from which he looked like he'd just bought some items from the shop. He was aware that we were responsible authorities, having identified ourselves, and obviously Captain Singh came from behind the counter. We didn't meet a man giving the name that you provided, saying that there were 2 people there looking after the store on that occasion, Michael DeCosta. And this man was asked to leave the items that belonged to the shop, as he was telling us he hadn't purchased them, so we asked him to leave them so that your items weren't stolen, and nobody else identified themselves there.
And how many, all your visits, was anyone able to evidence a clear understanding of the licensing objectives?
No.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Thank you. And what about you, Jeannie?
I visited the premises twice. First on 1st of June when Mr. Khurana was absent from the premises, and the person who was behind the counter didn't know what the licensing requirements. Did not. Yeah, I left at that time, and then I went back on 30th of June. 30th of June. And this time Mr. Khurana was there, and I did a compliance check. Thank you. He was able to evidence, yeah.
So just to clarify, there's been, members, 5 visits, 7th for the 12th, 19th for the 5th, 21st of the 6th, 1st of the 6th. The first 4 visits, all of which no one was able to evidence the ability to uphold the licensing objectives. On the 30th of the 6th, yourself, sir, were there, and you were able to uphold. So, Mr. Panchal, your quote about from the 7th to the 12th, it's been counterfeit-free, may well be true, but we also look at the licensing objectives and the ability to uphold those. Emily, you've indicated?
Hi. Sorry, Chairman. On the 3rd visit, I actually had to go behind the counter and get the keys for HMRC because the gentleman behind the counter didn't know where keys were for the premises or things like that. He was on the phone trying to find out things. He wasn't able to, although he was more coherent, he wasn't able to help without assistance from the DPS. He had to get on the phone.
Right, that's the 21st of the 6th, that one.
That'll be the last visit, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Sorry, can I?
21st with HMRC.
Mr. Panchal, we're talking about 5 visits, 4 of which there hasn't been anyone available to uphold the licence objectives.
Sorry. I just wanted to complete on the issue I was mentioning earlier. Mr. Khurana, of his own admission, said that he's paid £1,100 for tobacco. Having done a rough estimate of the value of the goods that we seized, we came to a value of about £1,700-ish, 1,800-ish pounds. On that basis, if Mr. Khurana has paid 1,100 for his goods, he has bought a significant quantity which has also been sold, because the value that he would have paid would be less than the value he would be selling it for. So I am querying whether they were only purchased a month prior.
That's what I was trying to get at, because if you look on page 14, the numbers are broken. They're not in set 200s or in thousands. Winston, for example, there's 100 fags left there.
Yes.
So therefore, someone's
There would
purchased
be
quite a few.
items that would have
It
been
may well be
sold.
he bought 5 sleeves of each. We don't know. He's
Yeah.
told us he bought 5,000 in total, saying that he's only sold 400. If you bought 5,000 at £1,100, we're saying you probably got a bad deal if you were buying counterfeit, sir.
Also, I would again highlight on page 14, at the top of page 14, the initial referral that we got in relation to this store was made in August by an anonymous phone
That's my next line.
phone call. So
My next line.
yeah.
I wanted just to clarify that, because I asked you earlier, and you did state at the start that you purchased these items 6 months ago, 6 months prior to Christmas. Now you're saying it's November. You now said, Mr. McGrain, you said now again you purchased them in November. But the original complaint about counterfeit purchases was 3 months prior to the November. So how can you explain, now you owned the shop, you bought it in 2015, in August 2016 there was counterfeit goods being sold from your shop, but you tell us you didn't buy any till November. Please, explain. Yeah, well, what I'm asking is, how were the goods there 3 months before you said you purchased them?
No.
No to what? No, they weren't purchased in August?
No.
The member of the public who reported it was lying? Is that what you're saying?
तो पब्लिक ने जो रिपोर्ट की कि अगस्त में से हमने ली आपकी दुकान से, तो वो गलत बोल रहे हैं?
बट वो मिस्टेक कर सकते किसी और दुकान के साथ या कुछ भी, बट मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ,
आंसर
what I'm saying is truth. I don't know about the public report and everything.
Just to clarify, Mr. Curran, we have many off-licences in the borough. We don't do as many compliance visits as we should, but we do act on intelligence. So when someone reports to us that this process is going on, we then visit. So in August, someone reported that your store was selling counterfeit goods. We then go in December. You're telling me you didn't buy it till November.
No, I'm just asking in.
Yeah, sure. If you need to translate, but please, Mr. Panchal, be conscious that others can monitor your translations, because I know previously.
किया है या गलती से जान के किसी ने मेरे से दुश्मनी लेने के लिए किया है या कुछ भी किया है, मुझे नहीं पता ना इस बात।
Chairman, he confirms that he did not buy in August, or he wasn't selling in August. He still confirms that he might have bought it from some other shop. That's what he's saying.
Or the member of the public was wrong.
Member of public.
And it just so happens that when we then do the raid, we find lots of counterfeit
Yeah,
there.
but that's what he's
quite
saying.
fortunate.
That, yeah, that's what
Thank
he's.
you.
Yeah.
Councillors, any more questions at this point? No? Okay, so we now go in reverse order. As you look at your order of proceedings in your addendum, it will show you the route that we carry. So because this is a review, the applicant is not the licence holder, the applicant is Kieran, so we'll go in reverse order. So Mr. Panchal, if you'd like to just sum up, if you could.
Yes, Chairman. Sorry. Yes, Chairman, I'd like to sum up. I keep coming back to these committee meetings here regarding this smuggle item and that. And on my general view as a training company, I would like to say that we do tend to go back and we do tend to get compliances carried out. And we've seen that since Mr. Khurana visited us in January, his compliance about purchases, his compliance about trying to promote the 4 licensing objectives is improving rather than what happened in December 2016. So, Chairman, yes, we are the discussion with the client. We are happy to have the license suspended I understand that the committee has a method that the license can be suspended for 3 months. Chairman, again, that if you look at the guidance which says...
Sorry, did you just say you're happy for the licence to be suspended?
No, Chairman, we're...
Is that what you just said? I thought that's what you said.
No. We're saying that we've discussed with the client and we've seen the recommendations by the...
Did you just say the words, you're happy for the licence to be suspended?
No, I haven't said I'm happy. I might have said it, but I'm trying to...
So you're not saying that? You're retracting that? No, you're not happy?
Retracting that. I'm not saying I'm happy with that. Yeah. But, Chairman, we are happy for the officer's recommendations at this very moment on putting the conditions on the license and what recommendations the officer at the moment is making for this application.
Sorry, so you are happy for the officer's recommendations?
Recommendations for the... If you look at
the
Appendix
officers
B...
of the environmental...
Yeah, the officer's
standards.
recommendation on Appendix B of your...
So I see. So really what you're saying is you accept the conditions?
We accept the conditions.
Right, okay, just want to clarify that, because there's officers here who've asked for us to revoke the licence, and I understood that you were happy for that to happen, but thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Panchow. Emily, can we hear from you, please, before we deliberate? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Carano, in my mind, has employed illegal workers. I believe he was fully aware of what he was doing, and as the councillor highlighted, it has led to possible further offences of tax evasion and also not paying the full wage to employees. I find some of the things not matching up, not adding up in what he's saying to me. It always has been illegal to employ illegal workers, and he has got a licence which has crime prevention section added to it, which he's never been able to provide CCTV. Premises licence haven't been provided. He hasn't complied, and they have already been on his licence. He doesn't comply with the law, and he's bought illicit goods which he is fully aware were illicit, and again he's not able to actually confirm when he bought these, and he's not able to tell a straight story on that one either. I would still like to go with full revocation for the premises licence here. We also have an ASB problem, an antisocial behaviour problem in Hayes Town, and on every occasion that I've been to the premises there has been huge amounts of drugs paraphernalia, and I was hoping to point out earlier in the photos that what I call crack pipes, cannabis grinders, I don't think any of that, although it's not illegal, shows that he is a responsible retailer. I'd like to go for full revocation. Thank you.
Panchow, please switch your microphone off.
Oh, sorry.
Kieran?
I would just like to make the point that during Mr. Carano's when Mr. Carano spoke, he mentioned that the purchases that he made them on the basis that he was told they were duty-free and they were not counterfeit. And I just want to take this opportunity to make it very clear that whether something's duty-free or not, or counterfeit, he shouldn't be buying it, and that would have also applied to alcohol. Obviously, we didn't seize any alcohol on this occasion, but we have a huge issue in the borough with duty-free and counterfeit goods, and neither should be bought, and nothing should be bought from someone who is unknown to him. And the other thing I would like to say is with reference to the anonymous complaint that was made to us. We get a lot of complaints that come in. Some of them are anonymous, some of them don't have merit to them, some of them do. If on the back of a complaint we go and do a visit, and this visit was done a few months later, because we have to coordinate these visits, and we find something, to me, from our experience within the service, finding something on a visit gives merit to the complaint in the first place. Thank you.
Okay, that ends the part now. We'll ask you all to step out of the room while we deliberate. I note there's officers Mark in the room who may wish to stay. They're more than welcome. I think it might be beneficial for them if they stay. But Mr. Panchow, if you'd like to step out, please take your bag with you though. You shouldn't leave any bags unattended. It's quite alarming if suitcases are in the room. So please take it with you when you step outside. Thank you.